Okay, hello everybody. All right, so let's go over this. So basically, this was the pound yen on Friday morning. This was let me get the. This here was 5:30 in the morning, 8:30 Eastern time. Now there's a big news event. Now what I want to show you is how this indicator was already trading below the zero line. So it indicated that there was a negative delta right here. Okay? So even though this was going bullish, this indicator was telling you don't believe the lie because they're going to go down. So they started to go down as this was going up here. By the time this initiated to the downside, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, practically 2 hours before the 8:30 announcement or market report, we already had clarity that there was volume divergence and that they were actually pushing to basically set this to go short, which in actuality they did. The total move in this case was from top to bottom, you're looking about 192 pips. Now, the important thing is that when this indicator does give you an indication, it will usually set up prior to the move, and you'll usually get uh, a dip on the second one. So on the second one is where the confirmation kicks in. So this trade actually went right before it started to come down. We had already had indication that number one, there was a negative outcome over a 9-hour period. You have no idea how much tick data we're storing to provide this right now. So what this was doing basically is outlining to you the direction of volume. And the direction of volume is not bullish. The deceit was to the upside. The trade was to the downside. You guys got a dot up here. And so with the dot up here, my understanding, as soon as that forms inside the bubble, pretty much you're in a trade. Am I correct, gentlemen, or am I wrong? Yeah? So if you got the dot up here and you had volume divergence down here, prior to the dot coming up, because remember that by the time the dot came out, this was already, going downhill. This was already below the zero line. So you had a negative outcome already. So they were pretty much setting up. So you pretty much had a 2-hour window by the time that you would have looked at 8:30. I mean, if you get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, which I do sometimes, that's 8 a.m. Eastern time. So that means that I would have had about a half-hour notice. I would have seen that they were ready to just throw the kitchen sink at this. And so in actuality, they did that. Now, I'm going to show you another trade real quickly, which they did the same thing, and it was beautiful because it was gold. And when I saw this thing, I was just in love. This was the announcement, 8:30 right here, Eastern Time. Now, you know, it was in the bubble as it was going up, so I would have looked at it about 4:30 in the morning my time, or 7:30 in the morning, 8 a.m. By the time I looked at this was already to the upside, basically indicating that they were going to strengthen gold against the dollar, which they did. In your case, you're seeing it here basically identify right off the bubbles, right off the green. Is that a moving average, guys? The green one, green bubble channel, green bubble channel. Oh, main bubble channel. Forgive me. So it was trading. It was trading right off the main bubble channel. But even when it was going down, this thing was indicating no, do not go short. They're planning on going long still, and so it pretty much gave you clear sense of direction that before the market report came out, they were going to blast this thing and go long. Now, you would have missed this trade to the downside because it wasn't clear. Their intention was to drive it up, and they did that. So they balanced out, they exited their positions, and then, of course, they came down. Would you have gotten a clear entry here to the downside? No, it was too late. You would have gotten it here, or here, actually, right below where it transitioned. And then from this point, didn't do much after that. It came down about $6. It was about a $6 move. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to demonstrate is that you're getting now a clear indication of direction of volume that you didn't get before. Because when you look at the regular volume indicators, that MT4 has, they're useless. You can't use them. I mean, they're late, they're lagging, and they don't give you a sense of direction. So this one is giving you a sense of direction. If we look at the euro yen as another example, you'll see right now the same thing. You had the signal way up here, which was the dot, which, right inside the bubble coming down. Here you had this indicating literally, again, an hour beforehand, the market report was here, so you had a 2-hour window. By the time you would have looked which way it was going, it had already come down, but you'd already had the signal that this was coming down anyway. So by the time that it was coming to the market report, they were already bearish regardless. You were in a clear trade to the downside. The pound CAD was another one that did very nicely. You're still following your same rules. You had your dot up here that came back, retested with a bubble. They did the penetrator, which is, the trades that Larry and Tom like. They went up, came right back down, but you had volume divergence to the downside, and look at that. They basically just gave the trade away. They said, short me, short me, short me. So, yes, the importance of the zero line is that it demonstrates anything above the zero line is bullish. Anything below the zero line is negative, has a negative outcome. So in this case, if we start to see here that they're starting to come down, okay, they're positive, but they're starting to set up to go negative, to go bearish. By the time that you get this set up here with your penetrator, this thing is telling you that there is a negative delta. Okay, so basically the volume is already negative. It's so negative that it's clear as stone that they're going to come down. And so this is important because right before any penetrator trade that you get here, if you have a clear signal in this volume indicator that's right below the zero line, that's even more confirmation that they are going to go short. And that's basically what this is all about, is identifying how clear the probability is. Is the probability of not only price action going that way, but the direction of volume and order flow manipulation going that way already. And that is a secret to your success. I haven't given it a name yet.
Hey, Ricardo, what, um, how are you gathering the data on the bottom? Is that
It's an external data feed. So basically, what we did is that we have servers that are basically storing 5 years of tick data, and
but
so we're averaging this out.
whose data is it?
It's not MT Force. It's a completely different data feed with 14 banks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, this is averaging. I'm averaging 9 hours here of data. So for instance, here, as this was let me minimize this. Let's go here. As this was consolidating here, this was telling you go long, and it did. It never really went short, so it was giving you a sense that they were going to go long, and they did go long. But then they stopped it here, and they started going short here. So by the time that they give you a signal that they're going to go in one direction, it's giving you a 2-hour window. Now, I'm not a magician, but if they're giving me a 2-hour window, or if I have an hour notice that they're gonna shift directions, then you know that's a magical thing. That basically says I'm going to beat you silly today, and that's exactly what we've been doing.